Hi guys, this is Marcy Fiorillo and this is your video for Humanities 1002 Week 5 Assignment 2 project. So we want to navigate to the project directions by going to Content and then Week 5. And we'll always start by reading our reading assignment in the Stokes Sad text, which can be found under the Syllabus tab here at the top menu. But once you've done that and you've worked your way through all the various online lecture summaries, your knowledge check quiz, and you've posted your initial post for your discussion, you will come down to the Week 5 project. And this week we are going to time travel through the 19th and 20th centuries and discuss some of the styles of art that we find in these chapters. So as always, I've created a help document, so I'm going to switch over to that. It is attached to this announcement as well. So in our project this week, we're going to collect information on 5 different styles of 19th and 20th century art as represented by one artist from each of the styles. So we're going to choose one style and then one example of that, one specific artwork from each of the 5 categories below. So that means you're going to have 5 artworks that you're going to write about. Now you can choose from the late 19th century, which includes the styles of Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. Notice I've given you the page numbers in your text where these styles will begin, and you can select artworks from the pages there. I've also included links to Khan Academy. Now, Khan Academy is meant to be a supplement to your textbook, so be sure to start in your textbook. And then you can go to Khan Academy if you want further information on the style, or to get just a video lecture on some of the paintings, just to get an idea of what kinds of things you should be talking about. That's always great. So your choices are late 19th century art, Impressionism, and Post-Impressionism. Then the next category is early 20th century art, which includes Fauvism, Expressionism, and Futurism. Then you need to choose an example of Cubism, so that's sort of its own category there. And you can choose either analytic or synthetic, and these are both starting on page 1023 in your textbook, and I also have a link here to Khan Academy. Your 4th category is post-World War I art, which includes Dada and Surrealism. And then post-World War II art, which includes abstract expressionism, minimalism, or pop art. So you're going to choose one style from each of these 5 categories and then identify one artist who represents that style, who you're going to visit in your time travel, okay? So you're going to select an artwork by that artist from that style and include all the identifying information for it, of course, because we're always going to fully and properly identify our artworks. The good news is, if you're choosing artworks from your text, which I highly recommend, that information is going to be right there in that plate number information there at the bottom of the image. So if you're selecting from your textbook, all this information is right there for you. So that's great. Then you're going to identify it somehow as the style that you've chosen. So whether it be a header or just at the beginning of the paragraph, you want to include which style it falls under. And then we're going to write a paragraph that's 4 to 6 sentences, probably a little bit more, where you describe the visual characteristics that make that object representative of that style, and then give it a cultural/historical context. So, what are the visual characteristics of this style, and where do you see those specifically in your example? So if you choose Impressionism, for example, then you're going to discuss things like the expressive brushwork, the focus on light and how color changes in light, the subject matter being middle-class everyday scenes, and you're going to choose an artwork, and you're going to point those things out in the artwork, okay? And then you would want to discuss the cultural and historical context and why this artwork is important. So was it the first of this style? Was this the first Impressionist painting done by Monet? Is it sort of a pinnacle of the style? Is it different? Why should we study this example? So all that information again will be found in your textbook, so just put that information into your own words in regards to each one of the 5 artworks. Then you are not done. So you're going to write your 5 paragraphs there about each one of your 5 artworks, and then there is a conclusion. And students often forget this last part, so make sure you go back through the directions and you've checked off everything you're supposed to do, because at the end of all of those paragraphs you are going to have a conclusion, and you're going to summarize what you learned in your time travels, highlighting key similarities and distinctions between the artists that you visited. So this will be a compare and contrast section. Make sure you use compare and contrast language and mention each one of the 5 artworks and how the different styles are similar or different to each other. Okay. Lastly, your report should conclude with an explanation about which style you find most interesting and why. So don't forget that last part, because that's also worth quite a few points in the rubric. Okay. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. I'm happy to pre-read assignments or to help you decide on artworks, etc. Just send me an email, text, or call. Thanks a lot.